now that I've explored the steps that are taken in developing your approach to negotiation through gripping your negotiation, that GRIPS framework, and in particular, the reduction of information asymmetry, what I'm now going to do is to briefly explore some of the essentials of negotiation, some of the tools, the tactics that can actually underpin the strategies that we need to take forward. And remember always that it's about preparation, and then preparing again. Preparation never, ever finishes. We'll go through these factors and strategies in more detail during the workshop, but I just want to briefly introduce you to 4 essential factors and 2 strategies. And the 4 factors that we see here are what are affectionately known in negotiation circles as your BATNA, that is, the best alternative to a non-agreement, and that's the price at which you are indifferent to doing a deal. Now, BATNA is similar to a reservation value, but they are different, and the BATNA is the price at which you are prepared to walk away from the current deal that you're negotiating, primarily because you have an alternative. But again, I'll talk more about that during the workshop. And it's also important to identify the BATNA of not only the other party, but also yourselves. So your team also needs to prepare to identify what your best alternative is. And again, I'll explain that shortly. If we understand then that identifying interests helps us to unpick the BATNA and the ZOPA at the top left and right of this illustration, then it makes sense that this is going to help us in creating value. And this is what's referred to as the information asymmetry that I talked about in a little bit more detail in the earlier slide. And information asymmetry is where we look at the transactions where one party has more or better information than the other, and the key in negotiation is to be able to reduce that gap. A key strategy in creating additional value is through multiple offers, and this is something that we describe as multiple equivalent simultaneous offers, or again affectionately referred to in the trade as MESOs. And it's a really effective way in which you can identify differences between your interests and those of the other party. Let me give you a brief example to explain this in just a little bit more detail. So, you're applying for a new position which will not only increase your earnings, but also, you hope, your quality of life. In preparing this, you might realise that you are equally willing to accept any of the following employment packages. The first, £80,000 per year with 2 weeks vacation and 30% travel. Or, number 2, £75,000 per year with 3 weeks vacation and 25% travel. Or £65,000 per year with 4 weeks vacation and 5% travel. So the principle of making multiple offers, both practice and theory has shown, is that you appear more flexible, you collect information about the other side's preferences based on which offer you like best, and you increase the odds of reaching agreement. And this latter point has been shown to be the case through research.